Alright folks, just wanted to do a video here comparing two backpacks that are pretty highly anticipated on the market. The Vanquest, the Falconer 27, which is on the right, has been out a little bit longer than the Maxpedition Falcon III, which is on the left and came out about 6 months ago. Both of these things have an MSRP of around $200 to $205. You can get the Vanquest Falconer 27 in this color, which is wolf gray. The Maxpedition Bag is also called wolf gray, even though they're a little bit different. The Vanquest Falconer I saw on Amazon for about $205, and then the Maxpedition, you can pick these up for about $175 to $185. I paid $196 for this one. I bought it right as it came out. Now the Vanquest bag was sent to me by Vanquest after they had seen some video reviews that I did, and they asked me if I wanted the opportunity to do a comparison between these two bags. And I jumped on it. I said, yeah, that would be great. That it's really awesome of you guys to give me an opportunity like that. So I'm really excited to do this video. When you take a look at these bags, the Maxpedition bag looks a little bit bigger, and it's because it is. It's 31 liters. The Falconer 27 by Vanquest is 27 liters. But it's kind of interesting. It comes with 28 pockets or slots, so it has a lot of organization in it. So even though you're giving up a little bit of storage, you probably can store your gear a little bit differently, which kind of maximizes the space that you're going to have. Both of these bags have 3 layers. They're very similar size from the outside. If you take a look at them, the Vanquest bag is 11 by 10 by 18 and a half, while the Maxpedition is 10 by 12 by 18 and a half. So really the Maxpedition bag is 2 inches deeper, and that makes it look a little bit bigger when you look at it like this. Also, the Maxpedition bag is made out of 1050 denier nylon, while the Vanquest is made out of 1000, which is a little bit lighter, not much, but the Maxpedition bag holds its shape a little bit differently than the Vanquest. Both of these bags have YKK zippers, but when you take a look at them, it looks like they are sewn kind of upside down, or inside out. So you take a look at them, you can see how they're stitched, and that helps with waterproofing. The Maxpedition bag is done similarly. So they're both kind of the same there. They both use Fastex. What are they called? The Duraflex. I'm sorry, the Duraflex buckles, and they seem to be made out of similar materials. I mentioned that they both have 3 parts, and the interior components are similarly sized, with the main one on the Vanquest being 10.5 by 4.75 inches by 18. Maxpedition is 10 by 6 by 18. Middle layers are really similar, 9.5 by 2.5 by 17, and then we have 10 by 3.5 by 16.5. I don't want to get caught up in too many specs. They're very similarly bags, and I guess the gist of the conversation is really that the Maxpedition is about 2 inches deeper. Now, if you take a look at these bags, this Maxpedition bag definitely has a more tactical look, has more mounting points, more attachment points on it. So it's more of like a bug out bag, a camping bag, hiking bag, something like that, where this Vanquest could actually be used more in your daily life without people looking at you like you're some kind of commando operator or something along those lines. This bag has this Y compression strap on the top. If you use Maxpedition bags a lot, you'll notice that they tend to have that. So let's take a look at some of the exterior components of these bags and what makes them different. Here we have a little bit of a hook and loop nylon panel right here where you can hook stuff, and we have some shock cord, some elastic cord there where you can attach. What I really like about the Vanquest is the way that they tie their zipper straps, or their zipper pulls, where it's kind of a loop where you can stick your finger in. Maxpedition generally doesn't do that. They just tie with a double overhand knot. Not that it's a big problem or anything like that, but it's kind of a nice little feature, little added touch. It makes these a lot easier to get into quickly. And then on the main compartment, they actually have these rubber zipper pulls that seem to work pretty well. Now the Vanquest does have some attachment points here on the side, and then here on this side. But like I mentioned, the Maxpedition is just chock full of them. Now, one criticism that I do have for both of these bags is I really wish they had some sort of external pouch. You can attach one, of course. But it'd really be nice if you had some sort of net bag, net sleeve on the side for like an Nalgene water bottle or something like that. Both of these bags come with hydration bladder pouches, so not really that big of a deal, but I don't always use a hydration bladder. I'd kind of like to fill up a Nalgene bottle, strap it on, and get to going. And you can see we also have some Velcro fields here. Lots of attachment points. Both bags have compression straps on the side. These go straight across, which can kind of get in the way a little bit when you have stuff attached to the side. I've noticed that with other backpacks and bags that I've used. These go up on a little bit of an angle, which really isn't, you know, a big deal or much of a difference. We have some attachment points here on the side where you can put different things like rim locks or carabiners and stuff like that. You can go ahead and you can attach extra gear that way. Both of these have this hook at the top, and you can run like a hydration tube through there if you want, or you can hook stuff on there. Here's one on this side. I really want to take a look at the yoke on both of these bags. Now if you take a look, this yoke has a little bit of a softer handle on there, which makes it nice and light to carry around, and uses box stitching to attach to the bag. You take a look at the Maxpedition yoke, it's definitely more of a rugged or more beefy yoke. It's folded over here, so it's a little bit less comfortable. It has some attachment points, larger box stitching, and it's double anchored down. So I think that that's probably a little bit of a stronger, more firmly attached yoke or handle. Let's take a look at the back of the bags. Both of these bags come with a comfort panel to help with sweating and stuff when you're carrying them around. This also has it on the straps as well as this bag. This looks really nice and fancy. This one looks a little bit more plain and basic, but I really think that they're both equally or adequately as acceptable. I don't really see a competitive advantage on either one. I put a little bit of stuff in there and kind of walked around a little bit with it. And they're both very comfortable bags. I do want to take a look at how the straps attach to the bag. So if you take a look at these Maxpedition straps, they're attached directly to the bag. And they have a secondary reinforcement with this nylon webbing and some box stitching, which I'm sure is good. I'm sure it's adequate. I really like the way Vanquest did this, where they attached the straps. Here's some box stitching here, and they took the nylon and they attached this directly to the bag, and then the straps are attached to this webbing. To me, this seems like it's a little bit more comfortable. You have a little bit of space up here for comfort, and it seems like it's a stronger, more durable attachment point. Here we have adjustment straps, just like you do on the Maxpedition. Both D-rings. This is a specialized D-ring here. This has these Velcro loops. You could add them to the Maxpedition bag for running things like your hydration bladder. And then both of the sets of straps have attachment points. If you take a look down here, you have a waist strap. Seems to be really well done. Attached through the back of this bag, right down here in this bottom loop. And it's held in by Velcro, so you can go ahead and you can remove that, which is a great feature because I typically don't use those unless I'm really having a lot of weight. This bag, you can remove the straps as well. It's a little bit of a smaller strap, equally as adjustable. But when you take a look at this, you have to undo it from these buckles, which isn't a big deal. You've got some drain holes here on the bottom of the Maxpedition bag, and that's in case your hydration bladder gets sweaty or leaks. And then similarly, you have them on the Vanquest bag. Let's flip them over again. I think that's a pretty good overview of the exterior of these bags. We're already at 8.5 minutes, so it's going to be a little bit of a longer video. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to open the bags up and we're going to walk through each one of the compartments and compare them side by side. Thanks, everybody. Alright folks, let's start off by taking a look at the front two or the top two exterior pockets and see what we have. When you take a look at this Maxpedition bag, as I mentioned before, you have this Y yoke on here that helps with compression, and it stops things from falling out in the event that you leave your zippers open. You never want to leave your zippers open, folks. Alright, so let's take a look here. Open this up. Now this pouch doesn't open all the way. And when you get it open here, that there is just stuff that's in here. And the reason it's in here like this is I really don't have any attachment points or way to tie this down. You can also see some of this exterior stitching from some of the MOLLE attachment points. And this can be abraded. It can wear and then loosen up your stitching. So anyhow, and I don't want to make this video about what I have in here, but you can see I have some gloves, I have some paracord, I have a County Com shortwave radio. And then I just have some gear in here. Now there is some storage and organization here, but stuff moves around. The battery charger, sharpening stone, and there's some pouches here. And, I got a pen in here, I got a knife in here. And I just have all my gear, but it's just kind of strewn around in here. I do have this keeper, which is pretty nice. I can hook my keys on here. So it's a nice pocket. Let's pull all this gear out. We're going to use the same loadout in both bags. And you can really get a good view of what's going on in here. This is a big pouch. You can fit a lot of stuff in here. It's just going to be placed in here randomly. There isn't much organization. This top pocket is similar. When you take a look in here, it's just one big opening. So whatever gear you have in here is going to be loose, and it's going to be bumping around with each other. It's going to be bumping around a little bit. It's a big pouch, though. You can fit a lot of stuff in here. It's just going to be loose. All right, let's come back and take a look at the Vanquest bag. Alright folks, we're back with the Vanquest bag, and let's take a look at this before we get started on the two exterior top layer pouches. I do want to point out that this has like third pouch here that your hand can go all the way through both sides. So this is kind of ambidextrous. You can hit it from the right or from the left, and you can keep things in there like maps or paperwork or notepad or something like that, something that you need quick access to. Alright, that being said, what I really like about this pouch here is that you can open it up in a clamshell configuration. So you don't have to dig down. It's much easier to have access to your gear. And then you can see your organization gives you a lot more, I guess what's called functional space, because you can see everything. You don't have to dig for it. And I just have the exact same gear in these straps here. This elastic seems to be great. Longer things like this glow stick you can put through the elastic and then into a lower pouch to help hold it steady. You have a lot of storage back here. Looks like the radio came on. We'll worry about that later. You have this deep pocket back here where you can put stuff, and you have the same keeper as before. And we take a look at the top pouch. Open that up, and again, you have a pouch here, you have a pouch here, so you can put stuff. And then you also have the elastic straps here to give you a little bit better organization. So in terms of functionality in the use of these interior pouches or these top layer pouches here, the Vanquest, the attention to detail and the construction and the layout of this is hands down the winner. Over here we have some more tie downs, so it's a molly, so you can hook pouches to this if you want, kids. And this elastic cord allows you to roll your gloves up and stuff like that. And you don't have to worry about stuff falling out either while you're kind of rummaging through, so advantage to Vanquest here. Okay, so what we're going to do, we already got the Vanquest out, we're going to take a look at the middle layer, and I had to undo the compression straps on either side of the bag in order to get to this middle layer. So what I want to do, just unzip it. Just real quick, you can also take a look at this zipper. You can see there's a little loop here, and there's one on the other side. So you could put the travel lock or something like that on there if you wanted to lock the contents of your bag a little bit. But again, this opens up in a clamshell configuration, which is really handy because you have access to all of your gear. You take a look at this side. Down here you have some hook and loop. You have a large hook and loop field here. And the reason Vanquest does this is they make a variety of products that have hook and loop on them, or some molly attachments that have hook and loop where you can put kits or packs in here. So for example, I may have a first aid pack that I keep in this bag, but maybe I'm going to the gun range or something like that and I just need my first aid kit. I can just pull it right out like that and I'm good to go. And I don't have to worry about molly attachments or taking all my stuff out of this bag and losing it or getting it back in. So it's really handy to have these hook and loop fields for kits and stuff like that, or you could put even holster panel or something like that in here. In the top, you have a Velcro pouch here, which is really nice. The detail around having the Velcro, I think, is a great idea because it helps keep your gear secure. And then also, you can go behind the pouch here if you're going to put like a laptop or a tablet or something like that. Take a look at this side. You have some clear mesh pouches that open up. Holy smokes! There you go. In the same way, so you have this Velcro attachment that allows you to put stuff deep in this pocket, and it gives a little bit of extra protection. Same thing up here. There's not a lot of depth to this middle compartment on this bag, but the organization will allow you to put a kit down here, and you can put stuff in here if you need to, maybe extra change of clothes, or you could put some wet dry gear or something like that in there. Very functional. There's nothing too special here that is overly shocking or anything, but I do like the hook and loop panels, and I do like the Velcro on the pouches. Let's come back and take a look at the middle layer of the Maxpedition bag. Alright folks, we're back with the Maxpedition bag. In order to access the middle panel, or the middle pocket, what I had to do was unclip these compression straps, and there's some at the bottom too I'm going to unclip. Now this construction is pretty close to the other bag. It's not a full clamshell, but you can open it up. Now this has a full hook and loop field on here, so you can connect pouches the same way as you could on the other bag. But what it's missing are pockets. And it'd be nice if it had some pockets in here. Full hook and loop is great because you can put your packs in there, as I mentioned before, smaller kits that you can pull in and out, or you can put other modular accessories in here that allow you to have some better organization. There's a little bit of a cost to that, obviously, because you have to buy more stuff. But this is nice, and it's also very soft in here. So what you could do in a case like this is you could store a laptop or a tablet in there without fear of it getting scratched. We're going to come back. We're going to take a look at the third layer. But before we do, I also want to point out that these zippers also have that same locking security feature. Alright folks, we're going to take a look at the bottom layer pocket on the Maxpedition bag. Let's see. Now with this set of zippers, this pocket actually has the full clamshell. And again, I really like that design. It allows me quick, easy access to the entire contents of my bag. And I just threw some sample gear in here so you could get an idea as to how much space that you're working with here. Just an Nalgene bottle, some hammock stuff, and then a fly tarp. So when you take a look in here, there is an attachment point here where you can hook some gear or something like that. You have a large pocket back here. I typically use this pocket when I'm out, not in this bag, but in other bags, to store like dirty clothes and stuff like that, sweaty socks and stuff after walking around in the woods all day. And then on this side we have a mesh bag, which is nice because it's breathable. And just to show size, I put this Gold Zero solar panel in there. But there you have it. Nothing extra fancy. Great functional design getting in there, and plenty of space. Let's come back and take a look at the Vanquest bag. Alright folks, here we're going to take a look at the bottom layer on the Vanquest bag. Now this is where you're going to see the big difference in the size of these bags. With the same gear in here, it's a little bit of a tighter fit. One of the things I like though is you can unzip just to this layer. You don't have to unzip the whole thing in clamshell fashion, and it will give you quick access to gear that you have in here, so you don't have to open everything up. But I really do like the ability to fully open in the clamshell fashion, as I mentioned, because it gives me full access to my gear. But here you can see that this stuff is not in a deep of a well as it is in the other bag, and so you're really giving up a little bit of size with your bag, a little bit of storage here. But again, if you take a look at the way that this bag is organized, if you're not carrying around a bunch of gear, you can get a lot of stuff in here in a functional manner that works pretty well. This is some hook and loop field, so the same concept here. You can put different bags or pouches or pre-made kits. There's some hook and loop on the sides as well. This really opens up to be fully accessible, and then you have some MOLLE attachment points on here where you can mount some gear, put things like the carabiners and stuff to anchor your gear down. When you take a look at this side, you have some more hook and loop field, same purposes, and then you have these Velcro flaps that go over this pouch. So here's where I would put that Gold Zero solar panel, and then when you open this up, you can go all the way through. So that's a pretty handy feature there. I like the idea or the concept behind that. Just quickly to point out, this does have an extra pouch in the back where the Maxpedition does not. For the Maxpedition, you would actually use that back pouch in the internal bottom layer that I said, hey, you can put your dirty clothes and stuff like that in there. For your hydration bladder, here is a separate compartment. And when you take a look in here, I don't know if it's going to come through. Here, you should be able to see it. There's some hook and loop in here, so you can use this as a CCW, put a holster and some magazine pouches in there. You could keep, you could keep your 9mm, your 45, or some of you guys carry 40. You could keep any of that stuff in there, and you'd be good to go, and it's quickly accessible. But then also you could snake your hydration bladder through here, and then out through the top of the pouch, and you could use it that way. Also, I just want to show the bottom of these two bags. If you take a look at this one, it does have some MOLLE attachments or straps down here. And what you do is you would feed other straps or cord through here, and you could tie a bedroll or a tent or something like that, sleeping bag, on the bottom of this bag to give you a little bit of extra storage and a little bit of extra capacity. So that's pretty well done. We're going to come back. We're going to take a look at the bottom of the Maxpedition bag, but we are wrapping this video up. We should be done soon. Alright folks, here is the Maxpedition bag. We're back with this. I do want to mention that this bag does not have a separate bladder pocket or pouch where you could put like a CamelBak or some kind of hydration bladder. If you want to carry a hydration bladder, you're going to have to put it in the pouch that's on the bottom layer of this backpack. It's the pouch where I said that, hey, you could put your dirty clothes or sweaty socks or something like that in there. That's the bag, your pouch you'd have to be using. Also on the bottom of this bag we have some straps here, and you can use these straps to put like a bedroll or a tent or slide some piece of gear in here to give you a little bit of extra storage or more attachment points. It'd be nice if it had some strong D-rings or it had some MOLLE attachments on the bottom where you could put some straps through. I'm sure you could MacGyver up any kind of scenario with these straps to hook additional things to your bag, but it'd be nice if it had some extra loops or attachment points. The other thing is I wanted to point out is it has this rubberized panel at the bottom of your bag. And what's handy about this is that you can set this bag down on the ground and you don't have to worry about water or moisture kind of permeating into your bag. This has a pretty good barrier system. The other thing is it gives a little bit more rugged durability on the bottom. If this was to sit on gravel or rocks or get dragged across something, it gives you a little bit of extra added protection. So that's really it, folks. This is going to wrap up this video. I'm going to come back for some final thoughts. Thanks, everyone. All right, folks, so just some final thoughts, some closing statements. Both of these are pretty nice bags. Both of these bags are really capable, and they're priced similarly. What I will say about the two different bags is the Maxpedition bag seems a little bit ruggeder, and it's a little bit bigger and has more exterior mount points. So if you're really just going to carry a lot of gear, if you have a large bulk of stuff, that might be a little bit of a bigger bag for you. But then if you wanted something a little bit less tactical, something that you could use more in your daily life, the Vanquest bag, I think, has it beat. The organization, as we saw when we walked through the interior of the bag, is significant, right? And the attention to detail, in my opinion, is a little bit higher, and I think it's a better constructed bag with more thought going into the storage and the usefulness of the bag. So if you're in and out of this bag all day, the Vanquest bag will hold your gear, it will hold it in a more organized fashion and be more functional, in my opinion. Also, it looks a little less tactical, so it will draw less attention to you. To me, it's more of an EDC type bag. I'm planning on using it as my work backpack moving forward. You could use it as a go bag or something that you just have in your car as a kit or a functional system where you need to have accessories with you as you go about your day-to-day activities. The Maxpedition bag to me seems like it's a little bit more of a camp bag, basically because of its attachment points. I think it has the ability to carry and maybe store a little bit more gear. I don't think that these bags are direct competitors. I think Vanquest actually has a little bit larger bug-out/camp bag that would compete a little bit better from a storage and size standpoint to the Maxpedition bag. I do think that the Vanquest bag has better attention to detail. I think more thought went into the layout and the design of the bag. I think I might have mentioned that. And it's also manufactured in the United States. And if that's a big deal to you, then you obviously want to go with the Vanquest. The Maxpedition bag is made in Taiwan. I'm one of these guys that say if you can, buy American-made gear because, our brothers and sisters here in the United States need to be working and we need to keep them employed. I don't think you could go wrong with either one. I like them both. I do see myself using the Vanquest bag more than a Maxpedition bag, but again, that's because I'm going to be using it in a daily capacity. So really excited to have this opportunity and the chance to review both these bags in a side-by-side comparison video. Thanks, everybody.